Yes, sir. It's that time again. It's Wednesday night. Time for the Nostalgically Hip Podcast, your Wednesday night source of entertainment, or sort of. Something like that, whatever.
Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
We're good.
Hey, forget
We've been
about it.
dragging it a little bit longer with about 2.5 hours. That might be a little bit too
Wow.
long.
Yeah, so, I was going to talk to you about that. It doesn't matter. We've got absolutely, I don't know. It doesn't matter. So we're going to have to keep them down to an hour, man. Or at least try to, because I'm already out of storage for the month.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah, so I couldn't upload the last one yet. Obviously, it's up on YouTube, but yeah, for the Libsyn, for those that want to listen on Spotify or the other platforms, I'm out of storage, damn it.
Oh, that sucks. I didn't know that.
I didn't know it either until last week.
I think we're good at an hour, but we had a guest, so.
Yeah, no, man, that's not what I'm just saying. If we don't have a guest, we'll try to keep it to an hour. Only now, well, I'll take that back. Now, if the conversation's good, man, and we're rolling, then we just roll. But yeah, whatever. Forget about it.
Yeah. Well, what are we talking about tonight?
Well, it's funny you say that because
it's real funny that I say
neither
that.
one of us really freaking prepared for tonight because, well, let's just face it, life happens, man. It gets in the way sometimes, and it's a podcast. We don't take it too damn serious. We like to have fun, but man, when family shit comes up, it comes up, and you gotta take care of it. So, don't judge.
Yeah. It's a tough life. And I don't know. My kids are going through the parent teachers conference thing, so that's really throwing me off because it's technically Friday.
Yeah.
So,
well, as you just saw right before we went live, it took me 20 minutes to kick my daughter out of here. Ordinarily, I'd say just go to bed. You have school, but I don't have that excuse.
yeah, not tonight. No way, dude. Yeah, and then like the last second, my little girl, my puppy, barged in, and now she's finally laying down. She's asleep. So
She's always welcome. Where's my buddy? Where's he at? Yeah.
He's upstairs. I have to split them up, or they'll be fighting. So you'll see him fighting behind me the whole time. Yeah, it's crazy, especially at night. They'll be like, it gets brutal, man. It gets rough, and she can't. She loves to play, but he's so much. It's just such a difference in strength and speed and agility.
Oh yeah.
As much as she likes to play, he just gets the best of her, and then you'll hear her screaming like bloody murder.
Fuck around, find out. You know what I mean?
He's usually really calm, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. But at nighttime, he picks it up big time, and then he's like, "Okay, let's do this." But she can't. She wants to play, but she can't play at his level.
Well, you know what I say: play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So you can't fix stupid, man.
You can't.
You can only make it painful.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's kind of like it's kind of like crazy, man. You can't fix crazy. You can only medicate it. I'm trying to do a little bit of sharing here while we're just making small talk. But I thought, we'll just kind of wing it tonight. And usually once we get going, man, it's no thing like a chicken wing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if we keep it fairly short, unlike the last 2 episodes, we should be okay.
Well, yeah, man. It's shoot. We've only been on for 5 minutes, and that's all right. But it depends. If we get some audience participation, some interaction, then we'll just see where it leads us. But yeah. Anyway, so I did my other podcast right before this one. That one seemed to go pretty good. You and I have been talking. I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, but I'm going to do an open mic night, man.
Yeah, that's what you said, man. So have you decided where?
It's going to be one of the Funny Bones.
Mm-hmm. So like in there's two, right? There's a west and there's the north.
Yeah, there's one at Westport Plaza that's been there for decades, literally, and then they just opened one up not too long ago in St. Charles. Down, I think it's off of 5th Street, if I'm somewhere down around in there. But yeah, one of those two places. There was a place in St. Peter's, but I think they closed down. It was called the Back Door. Go figure. It's a hell of a name for a fucking comedy place. But
when do you think you're going to do this?
I don't know yet, but I have been writing some material. I just
you're building up.
Yeah.
So how long is an open? Like when you get up there, because like a normal comedian, it's like an hour.
Right.
How long would it be for you?
Every place is different. The average is about 5 minutes, though. Some places are shorter, some places are 10 minutes, but the average is about 5.
Right. So how hard do you think that'll be? Like,
it'll be pretty fucking hard, man.
Right.
I don't have.
Can you get up there and
oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with public speaking. I've done it my whole career in front of large audiences and whatnot, but that's not the issue. It's remembering your shit and hopefully being funny.
Yeah, but, right.
I'm grabbing my material from life experiences. I had one last night that I'm working on a bit. We went, I'll just tell you the gist of it. So, Connie judges Mexican restaurants not by the quality of the food, but by the quality of the margarita. They could have the best fucking food in the world. It could be orgasmic, man. But if the margaritas suck, then the whole place sucks according to her, and fuck it, we'll never go there again. But so we went to her Mexican restaurant. I say hers. I like it too. The food's really, really good there. But according to her, the margaritas are the best around. So we go there last night for dinner. Of course, she orders the largest fucking margarita they have. So they wheel this fucking 32-gallon fish tank out with a fucking straw in it. Fucking piranha swimming around. Fucking, Flipper flips his head out and says hello. Kids are fucking hoarding tortilla chips in her fucking ear saying, "Mommy, I can hear the fucking margarita." So she fucking drinks this shit, and she downed it like a champ.
Right on, dude.
She was fucking lit. We get home, man. I go inside to take a piss. I'm looking at her. She's still outside. I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? I go outside. She's got a rake in one hand, her fucking phone in the other hand. She's looking at her phone and raking with one hand. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, I got to get a fucking video of this. So I went back in to get my phone. I come back out and I'm go to video, and she's fucking passed the fuck out in a goddamn pile of leaves. Still holding the rake.
She's out cold and leaves?
Still holding the rake, still holding the phone.
That's a good night.
So, being the good husband that I am, I took the phone from her. I took the rake and fucking covered her with a blanket and went the fuck inside.
Yeah, what you have to do first is you videotape and get some pictures of that, and just in case you need them on down the road, you can
oh, hell no. I'm not going down that fucking path. No, sir.
That's what my wife said. She goes, do you film me? Like, why the hell would I film you?
Right. Yeah, anyway, so that was, I'm working on something with that. Because that shit was funny as fuck. Oh, our neighbor Bobby stopped by. He pulls up in the cul-de-sac and he says, "Hey, what's going on?" And fucking she yells out, "I'm drunk." No fucking shit you are.
That's awesome. Well, good.
So anyway.
So
right.
Yeah, so now what is that like for you now? Because being around drunk people is really hard if you're not drinking. I mean, it's a crazy thing, right? But if you just quit, you can be the biggest drinker in the world. And if you quit drinking after a few drinks in when someone else is drinking, it's almost unbearable. It's like you just freaking kill them.
I don't know, man. I'm used to it because, being in the military, when you pull into port or whatever, there's always a duty night. So you're always dealing with the drunk assholes. So I'm kind of used to it. I wouldn't say I like it, but I can tolerate it up to a point. I can't go out and I can't go to a bar. But if it's a bunch of buddies sitting around drinking, getting stupid, that's just part of fucking life, man.
Right. Yeah, it's tough. It's funny too because people just are so different. There's those drinkers that are in control and they can drink and be in control, and then there's the drinkers, and I know probably a handful of them that it's like I can't drink with you anymore. Like you just aren't even the same fucking person.
There were people. When I was still in the military before I met Connie, there were people that I ended up separating relationships with a man because they were fucking hardcore alcoholics, and that's all they ever focused on. Wake up in the morning, start drink all day.
Husband and wife, or
what's that?
Husband and wife?
No, just friends.
Okay.
Friends in the past, and I've severed relationships with because it consumed their entire fucking life, man. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the problems start coming in: DUIs, getting in trouble at work, and I'm like, I can't be fucking around you, man. I'm not gonna go down that fucking toilet bowl with you. But
yeah, I've never known anybody. I've heard about that. And in my youth, I was like we discussed, I was originally from Nebraska. There's not a lot to do but drink. So like the Husker game would be on, and you would go to the bar. Some days the games are on 11 o'clock. They're pretty
sure.
early. So you're like drinking from the night before it carries over. Like you were out time on Friday, and you get up on Saturday. You meet with your friends, and next thing you know, it's an all day event. But I would have to think if you're getting up and I can't even tell you the last time I had a drink. I'm having a drink right now, but it's 9 o'clock, and I can't tell you the last time. Well, I think it had like when you have kids. Like I'd never wanted my kids to ever see me, ever.
Is your mic on?
Yeah, does it not sound like it? Is it bad? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, there. Much better. It's got to be closer.
Okay. Yeah, so it would.
Oh my God, that's fucking so much better.
Yeah, well, you should have said something.
I just did.
There you go. Is that okay though? Right like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It took me a minute for it to fucking register in my brain housing group. You know what I mean?
It's one of those weeks, buddy.
Oh,
yeah, for me, it was always when I had kids, I just had to cut it back. And
yeah.
I still like to have them, but it was I can't imagine. My biggest fear was always getting a DWI and then telling my kids, "Daddy can't take you to school today."
Right.
Daddy doesn't have a license anymore.
Right.
And that would be like the worst. And there's a lot of people, that have that problem. And I think it probably is a problem,
Oh, of course it is. I did a lot of that stuff that you're talking about too, A weekend benders were normal. But I'm talking about the guys, it's Monday morning, I got to take a fucking drink of something just so I can get to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a buddy in the fire department. I think he'd been on for almost, at that time, probably 10, 15 years. And this was in Vegas, and he had seen so much shit. He didn't like to talk about it much, but he would, every now and again, I could tell something was bothering him, usually if it entailed children. But he had seen so much that I don't think he knew he had a problem. He had like a PTSD. And he would tell me that he drank wine. That was his poison. So he would drink a bottle of wine a day, and he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. And then he started talking to a counselor or something like that at work. And they were like, yeah, you're self-medicating.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing. I guess. So he was drinking his problems away. They ended up getting him on some medication, but it must have been pretty bad.
I was guilty of that, dude. I was self-medicating a lot. And that's one of the reasons why I just quit drinking. I mean, I recognized the problem, and I just had to stop.
Yeah, that's the way it is for me. If I feel that it's getting and it's funny that you bring that up because I knew an alcohol. Well, didn't kind of knew him, but I knew his mother. she was he was an alcoholic and a drug addict and mixed up in him pretty heavily. And I was telling her, I go, man, because she was telling me about him, and I go, oh, that's tough. And I go, I worry about that too. I go, sometimes I just like to have a good time and drink. And I go, but then I realize I got to quit, and I'll take a break. I'll stop for about a few months at a time. I get cleaned out. I worry that that's going to be me someday. And she said to me, she said, no. She goes, then you're not an alcoholic. And she said, because he doesn't think about that at all. He never does. He just gets
right.
up. They just do it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what she told me. And she's like, if you're thinking about it, then you're not going to have an issue, because you'll be able to regulate it, I guess. So I'm no.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
my dad was an alcoholic, so I was always very conscious. No, I wouldn't say all day, but every day. Come home from work.
Yeah, my parents did that too, but they were functional. So my dad would get home, he would unwind. I think, in that day and age, it was cigarettes and booze.
Right.
And he went to work every day. Mm-hmm. They would have some drinks, and sometimes it was noticeable, sometimes it wasn't. I'd say most of the times it wasn't. But it was every night,
Yeah.
And then it would stop.
We're talking
it would stop, and they'd go to bed, and he'd get up the next day and do it again.
We're talking a 6 to 12 pack every night.
Mm-hmm. Well,
in between that,
Seagram's. Remember Seagram's?
Oh yeah,
and Kessler. He drank Kessler, and then he switched to Seagram. So I don't know how many drinks. You don't really pay attention to that when you're a kid. I can just remember one night, doing what most kids would do if their parents are drinking. I was like, Dad, you're drunk. And he didn't like that very much. So that was probably when I first started noticing it, mm-hmm. But it wasn't like that all the time. He just drank, but he was if he was an alcoholic, he was functional. But I wouldn't call him an alcoholic. I would just say that that's the way that some people did things back then. And
but back then in the military, it was liquid lunches were authorized. So he'd come home shit-faced fucking all the time. You know what I mean? Well, not all the time, but frequently. Okay.
You can drink in the military like at work?
You can't anymore. You used to be able to.
I couldn't get shit done, dude. So, like, if I have a drink, it's a commitment. It's like, okay, I'm done with everything else. The kids are done with the homework. I don't need to be thinking. I can commit.
Well, the idea was, hey, you want to have a beer with your fucking lunch? Have a beer with your lunch. The problem is so many people abused it. And either you were too shit-faced to come back to work or whatever the case may be, getting in trouble, especially the junior sailors that don't regulate shit. And I'm not shitting on junior sailors because I was one, and I was not able to regulate shit, man. When it's drinking time, it's drinking fucking time. You know what I mean? But he was definitely a functioning alcoholic. But you're right. That was the culture back then. Fuck, doctors smoked in offices while they're seeing you as a patient. You know what I mean?
Dude, I got one of my buddies has a picture of himself as a kid, right? I'd say he's probably 2 years old, and his mom's holding him in one arm, and then in the other one, she's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then behind her, you can see on the table, like Schlitz or old Milwaukee. That's just the way it was, dude. It's like, it's crazy. My dad was a smoker his whole life. So I've pretty much been a smoker my whole life because I was breathing it since the day I was, I was born. And no one gave. I would have never done something like that. Like, I would have never been smoking in the same house with my kid. And I don't smoke at all. But pretty much, I guess if they say secondhand smoke's a thing, then I smoked from an early age.
Both my parents smoked as well. Not the whole. They probably quit when I was, I don't know, probably middle school, I guess, maybe. And my dad would sneak them every now and then. But, man, my mom quit fucking cold turkey. I don't know how she did it. She fucking took him, threw him in the trash one day, and never had another one.
That's what I did. I chewed. I did it bad. We've talked about this. Like, it was a routine for me. Dude, I would just be like, I chewed Copenhagen. And I would, at the end, I would mix it up. Like, okay, I want Kodiak. Now I want, Skull or or whatever. I would always switch it up. And then, like, if I had a buddy around who smoked, I'd be like, give me a cigarette. So I'd have like a chew in, and I'd be smoking at the same time. I love nicotine. I couldn't get enough of it in me. And just that. I got a sore on my gum one day. I think I told you this. It was like like a canker sore, but it was enough to shit. That was it's been 25 years probably, and I was like done. I remember I threw my can of chew. I had a fresh can of chew, and I threw it. I was on a construction site. And I threw it into a dumpster, and that was it. I did go get Nicorettes, and it worked for me. I bought I think I used half a pack. I don't know how many they give you today, but back then it was like 4 of those things were full. I think I used half of them, and it was enough to get me, to start weaning me off, because it was really a nicotine. It's a drug, and dude, I was crazy.
For me, it's not a nicotine thing at all.
Habit.
It's the habit, It's
right.
Get outside in the woods, pop one in, After a meal, pop one in,
I love it.
It's so hard, dude. I had quit for 20 years, and I wish I would have never started back. I can't quit now. I've tried.
That was for me, because I had quit a few times, and then I would start up. Generally, when I was drinking, I'd be out having beers, and someone would go, "You want a cigarette?" I'd be like, "Fucking." I mean, that's all it would take. I'd have a cigarette, and the very next day I was at the gas station buying a pack of cigarettes. Yeah. And then the last time I quit, I said, "Okay, you can't do this ever again." so, dude, I made that my point. It was like, okay, I'm quitting, and I will never again even. I've had people offer me cigars, which I would love to smoke a cigar, but it will end it. I will be buying a pack of cigarettes or chew the next day. That's the way it's going to work.
I know the secret to quitting. And the secret is you have to want to. And that's my problem. I don't want to. I just fucking enjoy it so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that we know about it today, but like the secondhand smoke thing, my mom's 86 years old now. And she was in that same house I was in, married to my dad for 27, 28 years. And she's 86. So, is it genetics, or is it, I got another buddy who's, last time I talked to him, he's still chewing. He puts his upper lip chews in, and he swallows it. He never spits. Just swallows it. He's done that for 30 years now.
Yeah, a boy.
15. And
nobody likes a spitter anyway.
Dude, we'd be in a gym working out. I'd be spotting him on the bench press, and he'd be freaking, and every exhale, I'd get like a whiff of coke, just a full on freaking, it hit me right in the face. He's like, oh. But he still does it. He quit for a little bit. He said his wife pissed him off, so he said, fuck it. I'm going to start chewing again. But he's nothing. I mean, who knows?
That's basically why I started. I restarted. My dad got sick. We had to move back. We did 2 short moves in less than a year. So that's a major life event in and of itself. I walk in to check into the command. Fucking commanding officers dipping. The command master chief's dipping. All the chiefs are dipping, and I'm like, this is not gonna end well. I was a fucking bag of stress, man, and one of the chiefs offered me a dip, and I'm like, all right, that was it. That was 5 years ago.
It's like so bad, but it's so good. It's like, how do you even explain it? It's like it's gross. I mean, you got to admit it's gross. I mean,
it is.
It's all over your teeth. I remember that was one of the biggest comments I would get was like, Jesus Christ, you got, like, girls would be saying, you got shit all over your teeth.
Right.
I'd be like, I don't care.
That's why I do the pouches now, man.
What?
That's why I do the pouches.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Dude,
it's not so much for me, it's for basically everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's cleaner. I mean, you're still spitting, but whatever, man. I'm not a fucking heroin addict, so hey, I got that going for me.
That's one of the reasons I never did drugs, dude. I was like, fuck, dude, I don't think I want to mess with that shit as bad as I am with, like for me, it's always all or nothing. It's like I get into it and I go all crazy, and then well, there's no point. So
Right.
I always had that self-awareness, like, dude, just don't ever do a drug. There's many factors into that, but I knew. I knew.
Sure.
I've always been good with, like, I can cut back on the alcohol if I need to. If I feel it becomes a problem, then I can cut back. But chewing was hard, so I didn't want to experiment with a whole lot of other shit because I'm told that heroin's not easy to get off of, or a lot of other shit. And I just always figured it was easier just to not do it than it would be to ever try to quit it. So I just never did. I knew my limitations, and that was it, man. Like, I just not
chasing that dragon, man. That's all it is with heroin. You're chasing that dragon. You're chasing that first high, because they say, and I don't know this personally, but they say the first high is the best high, and you'll never get
chew, dude. Like, if I were to have a chew right now, like I said, it's been 25 years. If I were to have a chew right now, I'd get a buzz. You get that head rush,
definitely.
And I'd be like, ooh.
Guarantee it.
But then that's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Like, there's a lot of shit like that. Xanax. When I took Xanax for the first time, I was like, man, this is awesome. I was like laid back and nothing bothered me. And I was almost like, woo, like euphoric, and I can't get that anymore. And there's only one way to get it. It's keep upping it. But I wouldn't do that because I know that's the game. So I think if you're aware of that, you can.
For sure. I mean,
you can.
That reason right there is exactly why every surgery I've ever had, I've only taken the pain pills for one day. That was after the procedure. And then I just stuck with like Motrin, Tylenol, and shit like that, because I knew too many people that got addicted to pills, man. And I didn't want to go down that road. I saw how it destroyed their fucking lives. I was like, man, I'm paranoid. I don't want that to happen to me. First, because, I've worked so hard for everything that I have to begin with. And to piss it away because I had a surgery and I couldn't suck up the pain for a little bit. Yeah, I'll suck up the pain.
Yeah, I like pain's good anyway. It makes you know you're alive. Some people.
It depends, man.
I'm in pain every fucking day. I'm sure you are too.
Oh yeah, but there's levels, dude.
What's that?
There's levels to pain, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard every fucking day, but that's just normal. Man, I've had pain so bad that I blacked out from it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had pain so bad I've thrown up. And all I could see was white, and it was a persistent pain. It wasn't just like a short term thing. It was a couple months of it, and it was just. I can see why people do get addicted to those pills, though, because the pain sometimes gets almost unbearable.
Yeah, dude. What is your take on? There's the big thing today is my daughter was just talking to me about this strength of women versus men and stuff like that, and we were going over it. And I was saying, well, there's differences, and what we're dealing with right now is non-truths and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that like short people can do things, or weak people can do things, or smart people can do things, and dumb people can do things, and there's all kinds. So you just got to find your niche, right? And you got to be real about it and be honest with yourself. You're not gonna, a 125-pound woman is not going to beat up a 225-pound guy, or anything. It's not even going to be close. So we were discussing that, and that leads me to my question to you is. On pain, do you think that women have a bigger threshold for pain than men?
No.
No?
No. I don't think so at all. I think it's individually based. Mm-hmm. Period. And that comes from
for sure. But do you think like that's like strength, right? Like most men are strong. The reason why I say that is I know that pregnancy, man, like I think I had to do that shit. We're done.
I kind of disagree, man. That's the age-old shit that women always fucking bring up. And
dude, that's a good one.
they say that it's more painful to pass a kidney stone for a man than it is for a woman to give birth. So, of course, pain is a very subjective thing.
Sure, yeah, of course.
But you can't prove or disprove. But in general, I would say no. I would say it's probably pretty even keeled.
Yeah, I watched my wife, and I was like, "What a trooper!" I mean, she had a cesarean, and I was just watching him like tug, and I'm like, man. And of course, she was numbed up, but it still didn't.
It's brutal. It's brutal.
She didn't care, and I remember, wow, I think that would be my. And then of course, we wanted to have another one, and I was like, "Are you really?" But not only that, but the discomfort, like when she would sleep at night. Like I remember, she just roll and turn, and it's big stomach, and I was like, man, because dude, if that's me, thank you.
Make no mistake, I would not want to ever be pregnant at all, period. However, you kind of you tend to adapt to your surroundings and your situation, so that's why the pain is tolerable. And I think if you, on a scale, if you want to say a duration of pain, maybe women's tolerance is a little bit more, but maybe they become desensitized to it because it's a constant. Again, it's impossible to measure. Sure. But I say what I say because I spent many years as an ER nurse, so I've dealt with pain daily.
Okay.
So I'm not just making a half-assed attempt at a guess. I'm kind of basing off of what I've experienced and seen.
Right.
But anyway,
Well, so we got what is it? When is Halloween? Next Wednesday?
Next week. Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. So we're getting ready to close it out, right? Like you had a whole list of movies and you didn't watch one, right? Not one?
No.
Yeah.
No, man.
Those are some good movies. I would definitely watch those movies. Maybe this weekend or something. Maybe on Halloween.
Well, here, check this out. In the spirit of Halloween, I've been invited to go to Edinburgh Manor, which is in Iowa.
Okay.
And it's a old asylum. And before it was an asylum, it was an old poor farm. So it's supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Iowa. And I've been there before. And I needed to start working on finishing up this documentary that I'm doing. I didn't tell you about it in advance because it was an invite only. And it wasn't my place to invite. But when we get back and we do more shit locally, for sure, we got you going.
Awesome. Is that with the ghost hunters then?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that'd be cool. When are you going to do that?
We leave Saturday morning.
Okay, let's talk about this then. There we go. That's our topic because we were thinking last minute, what are we going to do? Let's talk about that. How long are you going to be up there for?
Yeah, we're coming back Sunday. So a night. So
Edinburgh Manor. Tell me about that.
So I don't have any notes in front of me, so I'll try to remember the best I can. It was founded in the late 1800s, and Poor Farm was basically a place where families, times were really hard back then, especially in this area in Iowa. There's nothing there. So families that couldn't afford to feed their own children or family members would take them and drop them off at this poor farm. And so the owners of the farm would basically feed and house them in exchange for they had to work on the fields. And again, this is before child labor laws and all that. Well, then family members that couldn't either deal with or afford to have crazy family members, they would take them in and drop them off there. So it became working / now we're housing some crazies. A lot of shit happened between here and there, and then eventually it became where they would take only the crazies, and then some vagrants, wanderers, homeless folks, essentially. lot was not known about mental health back then, so there was a lot of crazy shit that happened, murders and treatment of the inmates is what it seems like, but the residents was very poor. So there's a lot of negative energy associated with that place. And I went there. And it was opened up until I think either the 90s or very early 2000s. So, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people coming through those doors. Some that got to leave on their own and some that, didn't. And there's a cemetery right across the street from it where they buried all of them. It's pretty wild. I went there about a year and a half ago, I guess, maybe 2 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but with the same crew. And there was probably 10 or 15 of us there. And I'm going to tell you the only thing I experienced there. There was probably 10 or 15 of us total in the group that first night. And the whole group decided, hey, we're going to go get dinner. Well, this buddy of mine and I, he's a former Marine. So we're like, fuck that. We brought our own shit. We're going to fucking cook our own shit on our hot plates, And so we did that. We stayed back. We're the only two, not only in the building, but on the entire property. It's a huge, huge acres and acres. So caretaker came, let us in, gave us a tour of the place, and then she bounced, and it was just us. So we're up in the, I guess, control center, if you want to call it, whatever. It's where they had the monitor with all the cameras that was set up. He's up there showing me about that shit because it's video equipment. So, of course, I was interested. And we're looking at the monitors, and we're on the second floor, and somewhere down on the first floor, we heard one of those big ass, the metal fire doors slam. And we purposefully went through earlier and closed all the doors. And the caretaker, she told us, she said, this one particular door here has been notorious for people saying that it opens and slams on its own. And these are heavy fucking doors, man. The kind of the push bar to get out. Mm-hmm. It happened. I don't know how it happened. My mind still keeps telling me there's a logical explanation for it, but I can't explain it. I'm sure somebody a lot smarter than me could probably figure it out. I don't know, maybe. But how did it open on its own,
It's a creepy setting anyways, right? Because you're like...
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
Because you get that, you get that vibe going, and then you're like, fucking door slams.
So the other thing... Oh, I forgot about this. The other thing that happened is... me, man. I'm not an emotional person at all. I like to fucking joke around and have fun. There's, crying for sissies kind of thing, right? Anyway... I go in this one room, and the lady, I'm not going to mention any names on here, but the lady that was with us, who's a self-proclaimed psychic medium, she tells me, she goes, there's somebody standing in that corner. There's nobody in that damn corner. So I sit down. I'm like, whatever, man. I go sit down on the bed, on the chair that's right next to the bed to where this person, whatever's supposed to be. And I shit you not, I got the saddest fucking feeling come over me, man. Like, I teared up. I couldn't explain it. I had no reason for that. And, that's not me. I didn't even cry at my dad's funeral, man. And I'm tearing up, just all these emotions, just horrible, horrible sadness. This just feeling of dread. And she told me this guy hung himself in that corner. And so I'm like, that's fucking... I don't know. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't, but I can't explain the feelings that came over me. So I just started fucking bullshitting, like I was talking to a buddy. And it was kind of therapeutic in a way, because I was like, I fucking go through this shit. I thought about it too, blah, 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 blah. And like, all of a sudden, out of the blue, man, that feeling was gone. Fucking weird.
Right? Yeah, for
I
sure.
can't explain that, man. Fuck. And I'm the skeptic. I'm the one that's walking around talking shit. You know what I mean? The whole fucking time we're there.
I don't know if you're a skeptic though. You got a lot of stories. You seem to be. It's pretty ingrained in you. Like it's, you want to believe. You're like the freaking molder, dude. You're like.
I do want to believe, but again, it's hard to believe. You know what I mean? Some of the shit that's happened, I can't explain, but at the same time, I still question it and say, "Hey, number one, did it really happen?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, there's got to be a logical explanation. There's just got to be."
Yeah, dude, that's like that story that I told last week, right? And I got yelled at afterwards with the wife because she's like, "Seems like you were rushing to get through the story," and I said I was kind of because you guys had talked about it so much. I thought, well, I'll just kind of rush through mine and get on with it. But your story's so good when you tell it she goes like the way the cans were, and you just kind of rushing through it. And I said, well, I didn't want to hang it all up with that. And, but when you
it's
for me, it was the radio, right? Like I talked about that radio.
Yeah.
So I do every time because I could sit there. It's been years, 20 some years or more, and and you know how as time fades, your memory kind of fades. You go, was that what I thought it was? And
right.
Dude, every time I think about that radio, I'm like, it's exactly what I thought it was. There's not like a doubt in my mind because it always comes back to that radio, and then I start to analyze every other situation. And again, dude, it's like one of those things that for me, that's it. I've never ever had an experience like that again that I've noticed. And we talked about it. I was drinking, but I've drank lots of times. Never seen fucking ghosts. I live in the woods now. I don't see fucking ghosts or banshees or anything, and I've never had an experience like that. And it's one of those things where I don't expect people to believe me.
Right.
And I would if they actually did. I'd probably be like, well, what the hell's wrong with you anyway? But because you had to be there, so if you get that,
believe.
You can't explain it to anybody else. And I always thought it was funny when people talk about getting kidnapped by aliens. Yeah. And they try to tell you all that. It's like, fuck, dude. This is one of those things you take to the grave, probably.
Right.
I would. Be like, an alien.
That definitely.
Like, that fucker goes to the grave with my ass.
But see, I believe that you had an experience.
Yeah, I definitely do, dude. But it's not anything that I've ever. I mean, at the time, after I had it, I had never thought about any of that before. I wasn't like ghosts didn't occupy a whole lot of my thoughts.
Yeah, same here. I talk about it. I've talked about it a lot more now recently than I ever have. I didn't tell people about that shit before because exactly what you said. That people aren't going to believe you and they're going to think you're a fucking kook.
Yeah. Well, and I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
For me, it was always like I always preface that if I tell that story, and I haven't in years, but if I tell it, it's just like you're not going to believe this, and I don't expect you to believe this.
Right.
If someone has a story, I'll say, "Oh, this one time," but I don't expect you to walk away going, because I would be listening to someone going, "You were probably just fucking drunk," and I was.
The reason I tend to believe you or believe someone with a similar situation is, I really don't care that you were drunk, because working in the field that I worked in for so long, I understand that it lowers your inhibitions, and it lowers your inhibitions, which allows you to either see, do, feel, or whatever more than you normally would when you're guarded and sober. So
yeah,
it could have potentially opened it up to the experience or not. But more importantly is that it wasn't just you. There were more people that experienced the same thing with you. And you can't, I mean, it's easy if it's an individual event to say, yeah, you fucking making it. Either you're making that shit up, you're hallucinating on drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
But multiple people experiencing the same event, you can't dispute that, man.
No, dude. And like I said, I'll never forget. Because I thought, well, fuck, they made fun of me all day. I was the fucking joke. All day long, I was the fucking joke. But then when you could hear those footsteps coming down that long pathway, taking that right, I'll never forget it. And so it would have been like my back to it. I didn't want to turn around. For one, I was kind of freaked out, and I had been drinking again, so I didn't know if I was just maybe hearing shit again. But that's why I looked across. I remember my buddy was the ghost monitor. So like if that you see in ghost stories, where oh, this is like if it lights up, then there's a ghost here. For me, it was my buddy, and I just see beep 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 because I looked at his face and his fucking hairs. He's just
yeah.
And I was like, okay, man, that's yeah. And that was it, dude. I was like, so when he tells that story, that was like how I told you my wife, when we were all hanging out last time. This is like I think the last time I was up there earlier this year, and he told that story, and she's like, and he goes, he was one making fun of me that whole fucking day. He told that story to other people now.
That's what makes it. It makes it even better. The fact that he was making fun of you.
But again, man, I still would expect. It was my experience. I don't even think. Am I glad I had it? Fuck, I wouldn't have known it. It's nothing that was thrilling. It's nothing that separates me from anybody else. I'm sure people like you, they've had other experiences, and maybe they top mine, maybe they don't. I don't know, but that was mine. And
That's I've never had shit.
Thank God, I've never had anything. This guy fucking moved, dude. Like I'm the kind of guy. Like if I had a ghost in my house, I'm fucking gone. Like that's the whole thing, dude. I don't like I need a physical presence. Like I want to be able to defend myself. That's the one thing that always gets me is like if someone walks in with a gun or something, I want to be able to deal with that. I want to have a fight chance. If I'm on the street, I want to be able to have a physical chance. With a ghost or something, I wouldn't get that. So like if there was one in my house, dude, fucking bags are packed. Like I see those movies and I'm like, what's taking so long? Like I'd be talking to a real estate agent the next day.
Right. Yeah.
Thank God I haven't.
Maybe
that's a defense mechanism.
I don't. I was trained in the sciences, right? So, I believe in things that we can prove, right? Like energy is a very real thing, and so I believe in the law of thermodynamics because it's been proven. It's a law, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm a real big, firm believer in energy. I'm not so sure what everybody's experiencing are ghosts or real paranormal. I think it's a form of energy of some sort. Whether it's residual energy, I don't know, but so that's why I don't get freaked out over it, if it makes sense.
Yeah, well, there's definitely I believe in karma. I really do, man. Like,
I believe in karma for sure.
You're bad. Like that's there's just so much shit I wanted to do over my life. Like, fuck it, I'll do it. But then I think, fuck.
Right.
Something I'm gonna have to pay for this someday.
Yeah.
Unearthly, I'm gonna have to pay for. I'm not even the most religious guy in the world, but there's just something. But I've seen it happen, dude. I've seen people that have done bad things. And I've seen that shit come back around.
No doubt, man.
And it's the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've seen it,
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, dude. It's a thing. It really is a thing. So, not that I'm an angel, because I'm definitely not, but I definitely, I think about that a lot.
Well, I've experienced it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was a fucking shitheel growing up, man. I was just not a nice person, I never really dated. I just fucked and moved on, So, and I wasn't, again, the nicest person to a lot of those women. So I got married, my first marriage, and that bitch fucked around on me a lot. Fucking crushed me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short,
there, man. That's the thing. You put that bad shit out there, you get it back. Like I said, dude, I've seen some lives changed.
Yeah, man. Fuck, I tell you, to me, man, it opened my eyes, and because I believe in karma, and I got a fucking nice, fucking thick slice of that son of a bitch. Let me tell you. So, but
you can't virtue signal your way out of that shit. That's what I think's so funny about this modern movement of if I say nice things and I do nice things, then I'm a nice person. And nah, man, and we're seeing it now, right? I think we're
You got
kind
to
of
live it.
it's really revealing what we're seeing about a lot of those people that were fucking waving their fucking virtue flags. We're seeing what they were all about.
Yep.
And that shit comes back, dude. I promise you that shit will come back to you.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, I always tell my kids, I say, everything, it may not be tomorrow, may not be next year, it may not be 10 years. If you do good things and you hope you're genuine and you help people out, it'll come back. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
You get it. You give, if you have $10 and someone needs $1, give them $1, man, or whatever, help out.
There's not a doubt in my mind.
It'll come back to you. And but if you do the opposite, that shit'll come back to you too.
See, I totally believe in karma, and karma's all about balance, man. You know, what was cool of what happened to me in that whole situation. I mean, that wasn't cool, but I deserved it. But now the slate was wiped clean.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, no, I know, I know for certain, man. Because that was 24 years ago.
Yeah.
So I learned my lesson. So I try to live right. I'm not perfect by fucking any stretch of the imagination.
Nobody is.
I'm not even
the biggest thing, right? If people could understand that we're very flawed.
Oh yeah.
All of us are very flawed. If you could understand that, and I learned this a long time ago, but I have to explain it to my kids now. Like they'll have a gripe about a friend or this and that, and I'll just be like, that's what makes you friends, though, is because you're willing, you love them so much, you're willing to deal with those things, or your wife or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone is flawed. You're not going to find everyone has an issue, but it's almost like we live in a society now where people think, well, if you have a flaw, we just need to fucking destroy you.
Right.
And that's just not the way it works, because you can find, some people you can't maybe find good stuff in, but most people you can, if you look, I think. And
yeah.
It's in there. And then some people are layered too, right? And you never see it until you really, just it. But like I said, man, I don't know. I've seen it,
I lived it, dude.
Yeah. And maybe it's coincidence or whatnot, but I've fucking seen.
See,
put that bad shit out there, man. You'll get it back.
I don't believe in coincidence.
I don't either. But
I really don't.
The only people I care to convince about that shit's my kids generally, that understand that you didn't skate. You just don't skate. It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
I always thought like the people that murder, because don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of people that been at a stoplight. I'd like to just kill that motherfucker.
Right.
But then I think to myself, what's stopping me? It's certainly not fuck the. A lot of people say, well, the law. Nah, fuck that. But what really would stop me is like, what's going to happen? Of course, my soul going, like that.
Right.
That would suck, right? But
right.
I sound like I'm religious, but I'm not. I think about that stuff.
Like spiritual, man. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm honestly, I don't like organized religion. I don't like it at all, and especially if Connie listens, she's going to kill me. Especially the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most corrupt organization in the world. Under the guise of doing something good, which is even more loathsome in my opinion. But I don't have fault with anyone that believes in God. I think there is some kind of higher power. Whether it's aliens, I don't know. You know who I'm talking about? That guy with the fucking hair.
Well, what about the Heaven's Gate thing? Remember that? Like
the movie?
No, not that one. You want to talk about that? We can.
The movie?
We'll talk about it.
I'd prefer not to.
You know what, dude? That would have been a great Halloween costume for us this year.
Nobody would have.
One of the characters from Heaven's Gate.
I would have dressed up as the cult. The cult Heaven's Gate.
The cult Heaven's Gate. Dude, think about that though. These guys believe that shit, and they cut their balls off. Didn't they cut their balls off?
I don't know if they
Yeah,
did
they all
some
did.
weird shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did. They were cutting their shit off, and they had rolls of coins because they were going to get on an alien ship. But I remember hearing about that live and going, like, people were making fun of them on talk shows, like the
Right.
night of, and I'm like, hey, how do you fucking know?
Yeah.
Not that I was saying
You
it wasn't
don't.
crazy because it was crazy, but I was still going, what if they're fucking right?
You know,
like, how do you know? Because no one really has the answers to anything.
no, hell no.
We do. We like to think that we do, but none of us really know shit. And
So let me. I don't know if I ever told you this, but on my dad's deathbed, he kept pointing to the corner, and I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "There's two people standing there. I don't know if I like them or not. There's nobody in the corner, man." So, trying to put him at ease because he was becoming very anxious over it. I just looked at the corner and said, "Hey, you guys gotta go. You're not welcome here." And I turned to him. I said, "Look, I told them to leave. They're gonna leave." And shortly afterwards, he passed. And when the nurse came in, and I was telling her about it, she goes, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time." I said, "In this building?" She goes, "No, in this room, in that corner." She pointed to the corner. I didn't tell her which corner.
Mm-hmm.
She pointed to the corner. I'm like, "Oh, how do you explain that shit?" You know? So it kind of gives you a little bit of comfort, though, doesn't it?
It does, man. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. I mean, just if you're looking at that like ghosts or religion, I always think atheists are funny. They make me laugh because I'm not saying they're wrong.
Right.
I'm not saying they're right, but I always get a kick that it bothers them so much. Like, could you imagine, like, somebody believed something, but you just couldn't deal with that, so you had to disprove that, and some people spend an entire life trying to do so, and you can't. I mean, you really can't.
No, it's
You really
impossible.
can't, because until someone dies and comes back and says, "Yeah, it's fucking great up there. Did I party? There was
right.
whores or virgins or whatnot." You can't disprove it.
Dude, I got rid of all those fucking speed bumps on my dick. It's great.
But if you, as my friend, believed in something crazy, I wouldn't waste a second of my. I might go, whatever, Andy, but I wouldn't waste a second of my life trying to disprove. Fuck, I don't care. Whatever you believe, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not
exactly, man.
Are you okay? And you'd be like, yeah, everything's right. Yeah, and you'd be like, well, I just fucking believe this, and I'd be like, okay, good, dude, good for you.
Right, cool story. How about them bears? But
atheists kill me like that because it's like they'll write a book, and it's like, man, this really fucking bothers you. Like it really, really a lot. Like I gotta nope. I just can't. I can't live another day.
Steezo's an atheist.
Dude, they got good points, man. I like Steezo. He's got some good outlooks. They got good points.
Right.
I remember Adam Carolla, dude, saying one time, because I used to listen to him a lot. He was on the radio when I lived in Vegas, and one of the things he said was so true. He said, like if you told someone, like all the religious people in the world, you said, "Hey, man, I believe now. I got up to get a glass of milk last night, and Jesus was sitting at my kitchen table." Now I'm paraphrasing here. This is kind of in the same ballpark. And he goes, we sat down and we drank a glass of milk and we talked for about 2 hours. They'd look at you like you were fucking nuts. But why is that? If they believe in...
Right. That's a great point.
Why would they believe you? Why would they think you're nuts? And, yeah, you're right. Why would they? I don't know. But it doesn't bother me either. So
exactly. No, you've got a fantastic point about atheists. So if you don't believe, that's cool. But why do believers bother you so much? And I think there might be a jealousy component there. And what I mean is that the jealousy comes from the lack of believing in something like that, but wanting to. Because these people seem like they have something that you don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of them do. Like, I'll tell you this: of all the truly religious people I've known, there's really no fear.
Yeah.
And I can remember one time I met a guy, super nice guy, lived out in Vegas, and he came over one time. We were talking, and he was telling me a story about his daughter got involved, or I can't remember who it was, daughter and niece or something got involved with some guy, and he was real worried about the way things were going, and the guy was violent. And he goes, well, I'm going to have to deal with it. And he wasn't a physical guy at all. And I said, well, doesn't that kind of scare you? Like, you don't know what this guy might do. And he said to me, no, I believe in my God. I have faith in the Lord. Whatever happens, happens. And I believe that it'll be the way it's meant to be. But there was no fear. Like, he was like, I would have got fucking probably smothered to death. But he didn't care. And that was a brave, it didn't, any physical mismatches didn't seem to bother him, or crazy factors didn't seem to bother the guy at all. And I admired it, because I was like, there's a lot of strength in that guy, whatever it is. It's through religion, or it's through, the church or whatever, good, whatever. Dude, I got another buddy that says, if you need to go to church to not steal my shit, then fine be it. Which is,
right.
There's a lot of reasons why people do shit. So a lot of them are drug addicts, and they have to find whatever. It doesn't bother me. I've never once.
I made peace with my death a long time ago. My dad had a near-death experience. Before he died, that was an actual death experience, but he had a near-death experience before that. He was having a bypass done on his heart, and basically coated on the table, and he was dead for a couple minutes. And he said, and my dad is not a religious. He went to Catholic school as a child, and that did the exact opposite, turned him completely off on religion. So he didn't believe in any of that bullshit. He didn't believe in fucking ghosts. He didn't believe in none of that shit. It was all a waste of time to him. But that was a different generation too. So anyway, after this near-death experience, he told me, he says, listen, it was the typical near-death, the white light, the warmth, the no more pain, the just the feeling of happiness, and this, that, the other, and seeing loved ones that had passed on. And he came back, and he told me when he was dying, he says, I'm not scared to die. He says, I know everything's going to be okay. But what he said really hit me hard. He says, I'm just not ready. That's the one that tore me apart, man. He was okay with dying. He knew that from his experience that there was something else, and he knew he was going to be okay. He just wasn't ready to leave this earth yet. But at the end, I think the pain was so bad, he was just ready.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how my mom. She's she just isn't ready. I don't know if anybody ever will be. I think when you're closer to it, I think it becomes worse. That's at least what I've noticed with her. I think when you're right up on the fringe of it, it becomes a worry. And dude, I don't know, man. Like, we'll get back to ghosts. Wouldn't that suck if you were a fucking ghost? Like, let's just say that you didn't believe, you didn't go to heaven, and it just you got fucked and you became a ghost, and like you were walking this earth, and I mean, let alone all the shit, like whatever your reasons for, whatever the pictures just seeing, like, could you imagine being a ghost from 1920 and seeing all the shit that's happened? Like, you'd be like, that guy's got some device in his hand. It's a phone, it's a computer, and it's a kid. What the fuck? I had a fucking a can and some strings. Could you imagine? Like,
it's funny you say that, because I have imagined it and I thought about it, and I'm like, Dude, no wonder these motherfuckers are throwing chairs and shit. You know, they always got some dumb cocksucker walking in saying, "Is there anybody here?" You know?
Yeah. Like, this guy's jerked off for the third time today with fucking porn. Like, you know what? I had to beat off the fucking Sears catalogs. Sears catalogs.
I'd be angry too, man. Look,
Chair goes flying across the room.
It's the 10th time I've had this fucking question today. Can somebody get original? For fuck's sake, you know? Throw a fucking chair at somebody or some shit, you know?
Yeah, that would suck just to see all the shit. And then to see the change in the world, right? Like, you were all conservative and now it's like become what it's become. And
yeah, oh my God, could you imagine fucking...
No, that's what I'm saying. I can't even imagine, like, if you were a ghost, and that would be the ultimate, that would be hell, because you'd be having to see the world move on in maybe a direction that, I mean, so as we live, we adjust and we gradually change but if you're a fucking ghost from 1910,
hey Herman, come here, look at this dumb shit.
Could you imagine, like, you were around to see Babe Ruth play and you're listening to people argue about, I don't know, some dude current today being the best, and you just want to say, no, I was around, Babe Ruth was the fucking best. I mean, like, you'd be so, and you're right, there'd be shit flying, you breaking shit all the time.
Yeah, I get it, man.
Yeah,
I totally get it.
Like cars, fucking cars. Like, I had a horse and a carriage.
The fuck is that contraption?
A fucking horse. Can you imagine being around that long? What about going way back? A caveman ghost,
right? Whoa,
like fucking flashlight.
Oh, that's a good point, man.
I had to go everywhere with a torch.
Hey, you know what? Those aren't evil demons growling. Those are just caveman ghosts talking to you.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that would really suck.
You know, that's every time I go with these guys on a hunt or whatever they call it. I just call it a hunt. I'm joking a lot, of course, but I'm always asking weird questions, you know? Because I imagine, all right, here's the fucking ghost. Oh, great, here's another fucking group coming through. Let me guess, is there anybody here? Hey, if you are, knock 3 times. Same shit over and over again. So I come up with some weird shit. Hey, how many times did you jerk off today? You know, and everybody looks at me like, oh, God. But I mean, I'm thinking it from the ghost perspective, you know?
Yeah.
I figure if, change it up, maybe, oh, that's funny. Let me get a response.
Well, what if you were a habitual masturbator and you died and became a ghost?
What the fuck was that?
Right?
Holy shit, man. My mind is so warped.
So are you going up there, just you, or is Steve still coming along this?
No. Dane is the guy that heads up the organization, and
that's your friend, right?
Yeah, and he invited me. So, and again, it's not my place. If we were, if it's local, it's so easy. Hey, I got a buddy that's going to come tag along with me.
No, I get it. You can do that, but if they do it around here, that would be fun just to see it sometime.
Oh, they go pretty often to Mineral Springs Hotel, which is in Alton, Illinois, right across the river. Mm-hmm. And it's supposed to be the most haunted location around this area. I've never really experienced anything. I mean, I've seen like those little REM pod things, with the antenna that goes up. I've seen those go off, but I don't really hold a lot of faith in that. I mean, anything can make that shit go off.
Yeah, and they buy that stuff special, right? It's like specially made. And we talked about that. Like, we should go in because it's not cheap, right? Like, it's pretty fucking hefty. Like, we could just make just something. Like
I told you what I want to do, man.
What was that? Forget.
So, do you know what a spirit box is?
Mm-mm.
It's a box that basically scans radio frequencies, and theory is that a ghost can use the energy from the radio waves or whatever, and then when you ask a question, you'll get words that'll pop through. and that's apparently the ghost speaking to you. To me, it's fucking radio stations that it's picking up on. But, whatever. That's the skeptic.
I'm picturing a habitual masturbator ghost. I'm beating off again.
Right, right.
Ignoring me talking about it. We get it.
So anyway, it's to me, this is the most annoying piece of fucking equipment that was ever invented, because it's constant static. It's like the whole fucking time until a word or something pops through. But I wanted to fucking make one of those and then have a hidden recorded message like halfway through it, and then have it pop out, "Your mother sucks cock in hell," from The Exorcist.
Right.
just to see motherfuckers freak the fuck out when it happens. And I mean, have it clear as day.
Yeah, dude. There's probably a lot of ways you could fuck with those people, right? I mean, if you wanted to be you could probably set something up like where somebody's followed you, ran around.
It's so easy, man.
Yeah, and you could film that. So you could film, you could bring your own crew in and film you fucking with them.
Right.
Put that on our channel, and that would be funny.
So I haven't in a while because of different things going on, but. I used to do like small little films and shit like that, right?
Yeah, right.
I had the idea. I wanted to do a spoof on paranormal investigators and have it be a comedy. And just fucking make fun of the complete ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Of a lot of the shit that you see. My friend would be so fucking pissed off at me though.
Yeah, it'd be fucking fun too.
It'd be hilarious, man.
Follow these people around and did something like that, and then because they I seen the video parts of the documentary, they get pretty into it, right? I mean,
they're all in.
They're all into it. I mean, if they're doing that kind of jack on props, I mean, can we call them props? Pretty much, like.
What else? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I just, you know what? They really believe in it, and they don't hurt anybody doing what they're doing, and I support them 100%, man.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for a while, right?
Yeah. Several years. Because I know he started it when I was still stationed in Japan.
Damn, dudes, that's been like, yeah. Well, good for them.
Yeah, you know what?
They did something really good. Like,
well, I had one thing happen to the whole group of us. I actually got it. I got the sound of it on video. I didn't actually get the video of it. But again, in my mind, I'm highly skeptical of it because, well, we were in the upstairs of that hotel that we just talked about. And the upstairs, it was being renovated, so it was all, like skeleton walls. No drywall hadn't been placed up yet or anything. So just the studs and the beams and whatnot dividing the rooms. And well, we're in one portion of it. Then the other group was in the room right across from us. Well, it sounded like somebody threw a rock or a screw or something, and it landed right there by the camera. The camera didn't catch it, but you could hear it clear as day, and then you hear us in the background say, what the hell was that? But in my mind, the place was under construction, so it could have just been a loose screw that fell because of all the vibrations of all of us walking around or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It could be anything. And that's just it. That's what we were talking about earlier. You're in that environment. It's dark.
Right.
Kind of got the vibe, and you I mean, obviously you're there, so you kind of want to believe, I mean, I'm sure you hear a lot of shit, but who knows? Fuck, I don't know. I mean,
that could have been somebody throwing something at or something,
Yeah.
But again, the funny part is watching how they react. I want to believe they believe they're already all in. So I'm not saying that everything that happens that they don't debunk, but a lot of it's like, oh, did you see that? No, I didn't.
Could you fuck around? Could you say like, yeah, oh yeah, and then make some shit? What if you started going, oh, like I said, you could do a lot of shit with that if you wanted.
You know,
I mean, you could.
I'm not trying to toot my own horn,
mm-hmm.
but I'm a pretty good actor.
Right. So you could. I don't think it would take much acting, though.
No.
I mean, yeah,
but I'm saying I could sell it. I would just channel all the fucking schizophrenics I've ever had to work with and just, I'd have a field day. It ain't worth losing a friendship over, though.
Shit, not to mention all the shit they'd probably go out and buy. We knew it.
Yeah, right.
They get a fucking loan. Could you get a business loan for that?
What's that?
Could you get a business loan for...
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I'm sure you could. You could LLC it or sole proprietorship it. Because you're not really.
When you go to a bank, you have to tell them.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
What would your business plan be?
You're barking up the wrong tree. I have no fucking clue.
Plan. When you get a chance this weekend, ask them if they have the business, what their business model is, and see what their business plan is.
I don't think they have one because I don't think they're a.
If they do,
yeah, I don't think they're a legitimate business, like not a tax-paying registered business.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd like to know if we could get we should try that. We could do like a spoof on that where we try to get a business loan for a Ghostbusters company and see how fucking far we could take that and see like how much money we could get. I'm sure we could get 1,000.
It'd be even funnier.
Whatever, your fucking interest rate's 50%. But like, see if we could get it up there, like $500,000 loan. And then we could do an actual business plan on what we wanted to do, how we wanted to organize it, and what our plans were, and where we wanted to be in 10 years.
You know what we could do? We could go from a fraud, waste, and abuse angle and go through the government because of my disability and go through a small government VA small business loan. And
we'd get that for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, and then you could put down like that you flew over to Ukraine one time and it's well, here you go. Here, throw some money at you.
That's what I'm saying. The fraud, waste, and abuse piece. You know what I mean? A little independent journalism.
Yeah, dude.
Because journalism's dead.
Dude, that could be a good documentary. Us trying to procure a business loan for a ghost hunting business.
I don't think it would be as challenging as you think. I think it would be pretty easy to get one. They don't give two shits what your loan's for. Do you have an EIN, an employment identification number? Do you have your registered copy from whatever city or township you're in? Okay, this is what you're asking for. It's within our parameters for a small business. Here you go. I think it's probably...
So you can get and you get your LLC for $50.
Yeah, and you don't even have to do LLC. You can do a sole proprietorship for even cheaper.
Well, yeah.
Because you don't really. I mean, you don't have a payroll.
You're still going to have to. They're going to when you sit down across from a real banker and you say, "I need." What do you need?
Right.
And we say we need, and we like have a whole list of like fucking. We need $500,000 in ghost hunting equipment. No fucking way, dude. But it would make for a good story.
We need state-of-the-art flux capacitors, man.
I could see myself like when I was a kid, I'd go see Santa, and I would want to be so exact. I would cut magazine art, like the service merchandise magazine. I would cut out like, and my mom would be like, "You're being too particular," and I'd be like, "No, he needs to know exactly what I want."
Right.
Exactly. There's another one that's like it. I don't want that one. I want this one. And I could see us being like that at a banker. Like we come in with like printed off sheet of this is the radar that we're gonna need.
We'd have to put on shirts with bow ties. I'll put some tape around my glasses.
Dude, I'd throw a suit on for that shit. For sure.
Yes, well, you see, by my calculations here, sir, we're going to need exactly this amount because you see, this piece of equipment here is more stable than this other piece of equipment, and it's a little more expensive, but it's worth it, trust me.
Yeah, for sure. And then just to see the banker's face, because there'd be a camera in there, so that'd be the shitty part, because he'd be like, I knew there would be a camera.
Right.
Like, I know what's going on here. So that would kind of ruin it, but...
Excuse me, sir. I don't mean to alarm you, but there's actually someone standing right behind your right shoulder. It's okay. Everything's fine as long as things go smooth here. There'll be no problems.
That'd be fucking fun, dude. Let's do it.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I can keep a straight face.
Don't worry. No one would be keeping a straight face. We could do it because it'd be funny to watch them, like...
Right. Just play off their reaction.
I'd like to see how much money we could get.
Jeez.
We don't need to accept it. We don't need to sign. But if we could just...
Right.
Well, fuck it. Let's sign it.
No, fuck that.
Because
I don't remember.
No, they're going to want collateral.
Right.
And you could say, well, I could give you collateral for my house, but it's haunted. You know,
right,
like
right.
You'd be like, it's fucking haunted. You won't want it.
Yeah, but the cool thing is people are just dying to get in.
Yeah.
Get at the haunted house. All
I
right.
see. Good.
All right. Be sure to tip your waiters and.
Dude, I can't wait to go to this stand-up thing. You're gonna invite me, right?
Yeah, man. Well, it's open mic. Anybody can go.
Well, I want to be invited.
You're invited, dude. Totally.
So, when are we thinking?
I don't know yet, man. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to do it next semester or not.
In school, yeah.
Yeah. It's taking up a hell of a lot more time than I thought it would. And I don't like that. I like my freedom.
School sucks, dude. I was never a student like that. And then when I went to college, I was like, wow.
So that's kind of, I need to figure that part out first. And then I don't know. Fuck. We'll see. Because I'll be honest. Since I retired, I'm fucking lazy, man. So.
Yeah, and if you get in that rut, right, you'll sit around and like you were playing guitar earlier.
Right.
Which, by the way, you got real good, man. That was real good. You did. You sent me the Black Crows.
Oh yeah.
Great song, but real good, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
fucking farting around with that, and I figured out how to play around with some open tuning. So open tune to E, and it's like, fuck, man, I was playing that shit the hard way before.
Yeah, I don't think because he started. I just finished their book a while back. Steve Gorman, he was the drummer for the Black Crows, and he wrote a tell-all book basically about him. It's a couple years old, but he was talking about because it was the Robinson brothers. It was the guitarist and then the lead singer, Chris Robinson. I can't remember the other brother, but the guitarist. He was an okay guitarist, and he learned it. He started learning the open E, playing with open chords like that, and he got a lot better. Picked it up, but it's crazy, dude. Like,
it's a fun song to play, man.
Yeah, dude, they had a ton of hits. You know, kind of coming out of that crash right before the Nirvana took over. Yeah, but they survived it because they had kind of a different Stones kind of hippie style.
Yeah, heavily influenced by the Stones, man.
Yeah,
especially with that open E, man.
Yeah,
there's quite a few Stones songs that are in open E. Angie, I think's one of them.
That's the only one I've ever messed with was that. I don't like to tune down like that.
Whatever, man. String up by its fucking new strings.
I don't mind like the drop down D's and shit like that, but which I'll do a lot. I do that to just a twist to get back on normal. But that's like one of those songs I think you have to have, and most people that would probably cover that would have a special guitar that have just sit in the side or brought out to them. I don't know how they did it, but I can't imagine they were all in open E. But it's good, dude. That's a great song.
I'm getting ready to buy a 12 string. Cause I've been fucking around with Wanted Dead or Alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun too. I'm not where I want to be yet with that, but the little intro, man.
Oh, it's pretty. Just the hammer-ons and
yeah. It's just.
Can you get the intro in? Because you're doing a lot of picking down. You're down on the what I think for the intro. You're down on the 14th, right?
Yeah.
You're just sliding all the way up, but it's a jump over because you got to skip the B.
Yeah. It's I'm trying to get my fingers to stop having minds of their own. You know
the
what
more
I mean?
you do it, the better it gets.
Yeah, but it's fun. I'm getting that one down. It's fun, man. After the intro, it's fucking easy. You know.
Dude, I watched. What's his name? I love to watch the guy's videos on YouTube. I think it's Rick Beto. He's an older guy, and I think he's an ex-music teacher, but now he interviews all the greats, like the guys that we grew up watching, like Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. He just did DeLong from, I think that's his name, pretty sure, from STP. That was a great. So he'll get like these good interviews every now and again, and he pulled in Yngwie Malmsteen because we were just talking about him a while back, right? And that dude.
Wizard.
He just had his guitar and he was just kind of whipping through it. He's like he treats it like a classical instrument, almost like a piano. But it's fucking nuts to see that bizarre, like how you could be just a whole other level.
He's a wizard, man.
Yeah, it's there's those guys. That's what I love about it.
So cool, man.
It's shit. And I watch. I mean, the average player could blow my mind, but then when I see something like that, I'm like,
it's so humbling, man.
It's almost like a magic trick.
Yeah, it's so humbling. Because you practice all the time. And you're like, oh man, I'm getting better. And you watch something like that, you're just like, fuck, I quit.
That's what he said. He goes, you got to understand that. He goes, I did this all the fucking time. I mean, that's all I did. And then I read the book just recently. I think it was called Running with the Devil. And the guy was, David Lee Roth was asked back in the day, because all the other bands were blown away by how good Eddie was. And they were like, so he probably doesn't play at all, right? Like he's probably just natural. And David Lee Roth was like, nah, dude, that guy fucking plays all the time. And he did. You just don't get, they're great. Like I could play all the time and never get that good.
Right.
So they already got, they're already good, but.
Well, they were classically trained from a young age.
Yeah, both of them were, yeah. The Van Halens, but I don't know about Yngwie.
I'm not sure about him either.
I was kind of listening to the story, but it was a good one. It's interesting. He's kind of got that mentality of he's just that genius. So he's kind of like, there's an awareness. Like you can tell he tries to have an awareness about who he's, be humble and down to earth, but there's that kind of genius level where, I've heard a lot of bad things about him, but you could probably understand why, because he's just so fucking good at what he does. He probably doesn't give a shit about anything else.
Yeah, he didn't. He's just consumed by it.
Right. Yeah.
No, good. Seriously, man.
You're good. You're good, right?
Yeah, and it consumes him, man. And he's probably one of these guys that, in his mind, he's not good enough, and so he needs to get better. So he's constantly practicing, and yet the peons like us right here, like, you're a fucking guitar god, and he doesn't see himself that way.
Yeah, dude, those guys he's so good. They're like when you watch. Well, all those guys they're so good at that level, and you watch them play, and you're like, you'll pick up your guitar because they make it look so fucking easy.
Yeah,
and then you'll go, shit, I already fucked up. Like,
30 seconds into it, and I'm fucking wanting to smash it.
If they do, you don't know that they messed up.
Right? Yeah, they're so good, and in their head, they're fucking like, God damn it, you missed that, fuck that up, and you're just out there like, oh man, it sounds so awesome. The true greats like Yngwie and Eddie, man, that guitar, it's not an instrument, man. It's part of them, dude. The way they make it talk and sing and play, man. It's just
yeah.
it's
Angve
a
and
it's an extension of them.
like that made it. So did you see that the Rolling Stone just had its? I don't think they've done it in a while, but it used to be top 100 guitarists of all time. Of course, I not knowing shit about it. Like this Rick Beato covered it actually. If I'm saying his name correct, if I'm not, I apologize.
Is he the gray haired dude?
Yeah, he's gray haired. Yeah,
yeah, and he's wicked good.
Yeah, he's funny as shit because he gets so into it.
Yeah,
it's like you get into it because he's getting into it. But he was talking about it, dude. He had just a quick video on it, and he was naming off guitarists that I kind of was familiar with, and then some of them I weren't, because I'm not obviously. That's his world.
It's not your shtick.
Yeah, he was saying I got friends that made this list that I love them, but they shouldn't be on this list. And then he went on to say, dude, like Yngwie wasn't on. Yngwie Malmsteen didn't make the 250, which, dude, a lot of those names he was throwing out, I was like, well, I don't even know who that is, but I can tell you this. I would say Yngwie makes the top 25.
Oh, wow.
As little as I know, but not even, 250. Wow. And then who else did he put up there? There were quite a few.
Who did they have as number one?
He didn't cover that. My guess is it's probably Hendrix or something. But I mean, Hendrix is good. Well, he's great, but is that on Malmsteen's level of? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Hendrix was really good, and he was ahead of his time for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And had he not died as young as he did, it's really hard to say that. It's hard to argue the fact that he probably would not be one of the greatest of all time. But in the short time that he lived, that's a hard sell in my opinion. To me, anyway.
Yeah, he said Neil Schon, remember from Journey? He formed a band too, Bad English. He was in Bad. Remember that? With
no
John
shit.
Wade. Yeah, Neil Schon didn't make it, right? And he said this. I didn't know this, but I'll take his word for it. He said that Neil Schon inspired like a lot of the guys on the list. Like so many people copied his style. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but I think
I don't either.
Those two should definitely be on the list of 250.
You know what? The
250, but
let's face it, man. The Rolling Stones is not what it used to be. It's
it's a fucking joke, dude.
Its quality went downhill years ago, and the writers that they are hiring now are these young millennials that don't know shit about Shinola. How do you not put those?
You know my feelings on Buckingham. I think he's great, Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah.
I like that. I think he's completely underrated.
Completely.
He's in the top 100. Who knows now? But
try to play one of his songs on a guitar and then tell me he's not fucking underrated.
Yeah, and he doesn't use a pick. It's fucking crazy that he can do that. But there's
I don't use a pick.
Like I can't even imagine trying to pick the top 250, let alone get down. I mean, the lower ones would probably be pretty easy because you could just put anybody in there, right? Anything under 100, you're like, fucking throw him in there.
Cherry pick the fuck out of that list.
Make a name up, throw it in there. But yeah, dude,
I'm curious.
I love that Beatles videos, man, because for little guys like us that don't know shit, and that's the thing about guitar. I don't know anything about it, but I appreciate it. It's kind of like I'm a great spectator.
Oh yeah, I'm. Same here, dude. I'm not very good at all. I don't have any aspirations of ever being a rock star, so.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up that greatest guitarist. Yeah, they had Jimi Hendrix listed as number one.
Was it? Okay.
Keith Richards, let's see. Wow. The 250 greatest guitarists of all time. Let's take a look at this shit.
But who do you think? Do you think I guess they probably tell you. You'd
Yeah,
have
that's
to
it.
know your shit. Like, they're not gonna want my fucking opinion on who the greatest guitarist is, but
Well, that kind of
I
begs
assume they
to.
ask experts or
That's a hard assumption. With I don't trust in journalists today at all.
do you know who Tommy Emmanuel is?
No.
Okay, so you can pull up his videos. And my in-laws who are really musical, they teach music. I think my father-in-law teaches like fucking 6 guitars.
Wow.
Uh, not 6 guitars, 6 instruments. Teaches guitar too. Uh, that's a funny statement. I was just trying to think of 6 guitars, what would they be? 12 strings, like, but never mind. Anyhow, and my mother
Slide,
piano. They have
banjo.
banjo, yeah. They have um actual degrees in it, right? So that's what they did. They taught instruments and shit, and he would always talk about Tommy Emmanuel. So that's how I know about the guy. And then seeing some of his, I guess he's just a phenomenal guitarist, but he didn't make the 250.
Huh.
So I
There's
don't
a
know.
lot of names. I'm scrolling through, man. It's like it's a long list because there's a
Where's Eddie at?
don't know yet. I'm just now getting the 100, and it's Kerry King. Oh, he was in Slayer. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to. It's one of these fucking websites where you have to load more or click next or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fuck those. You just go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, I want to
And
find out.
about freaking
I
broccoli
want to
coffee.
find out. Ooh. Okay. We're getting close. We're getting real close.
But yeah, there was
Okay. Here we go. Number one, we already know Jimi Hendrix.
mhm.
I'm sure. I just don't agree with that, but whatever. I think again potentially sure, but he ate it. So Chuck Berry is number 2.
Dude, how did I know that?
Wow.
So it's going to be too like one of these things. You're going to go. Skin tone's definitely going to play a factor today, right?
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Inclusion. Oh boy. Yeah.
Not to say that
Jimmy
they weren't
Page.
great, but
Jimmy Page is number 3. Eddie Van Halen's number 4.
wow, that's way higher than I expected. But he's dead now too. 'Cause I think
Yeah.
a few years back, I remember because he was the one I grew up with, right? So he's always the first one I look for.
Right.
To me, he's great, the best. But again, I don't know anything about it. But if you were to ask me, the first name that would come to mind is Eddie Van Halen, right?
There is some objectivity to this, but it's wholly subjective, man. You know? Your number 1 is not going to be the same as my number 1 because there's no way to statistically back it up.
Yeah, but I don't know shit about it. Like I know what I think sounds good. I'm not a
And
music
that's my
genius.
whole point.
You get, man, you could ask that so many different ways. You could ask like, so when but no, you couldn't because I was gonna say if you asked like, what do fans like? Well, that doesn't really mean anything because I don't understand it. Um,
But the fans are what drive these people to do what they do.
sure. I think a good guitarist, and this is what Buckingham always said, is somebody that doesn't detract from the song.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Showmanship.
yeah, right. And they come out and they have to actually they said that the Black Crows, the Robinson, the guitarist, he had a real problem. Like his amps would have to be cranked up higher than the rest of the bands because he was more concerned about people hearing his guitar. And then the drummer Gorman was saying, "This is I can't fucking nobody else can hear anything that's going on because his amps are so loud." So I don't know.
That's funny, man. Fuck. Fame changes you, dude. You know?
Yeah, but there was nothing better. Remember that day, dude, when like I was watching Malmsteen and going, he's a little arrogant, which he should be. I mean, I get it, dude. And I was thinking to myself, how much pussy you think this guy was getting back in the day, right? That's gonna change you. He's
Oh
got
yeah.
lots of, like think about that. that was a day and age if you were a lead guitarist, because you really don't have them anymore. I can't think of anybody that's like back in the day, dude. You were fucking slaying shit, right? Like you were just burning
It's,
through plenty.
especially because a lot of these guys were nerds, you know?
Totally, dude. Like I remember Alice in Chains saying the reason they got into a band because they knew that was the only way they were getting laid. You know?
Yeah. A lot of them didn't
But
have all these social skills and you know, were kind of the rejects, and now they're the most famous people in the world, and pussy's just throwing itself at them. That'll change you for sure, man. That strokes
dude,
that ego pretty good.
got freaking panties flying up. Speaking of which, I watched a good video the other day where people were throwing shit. It wasn't panties; it was actual like fucking rocks and shit. And they were throwing rocks and interrupting the concerts of it. And most of them were like metal bands. So you had like a big one with Kiss was up there, Slayer, and
Slipknot.
yeah, Slipknot was up there too. They were all getting shit thrown. So it's kind of like a crowd thing. Like maybe your fans are a little bit more violent than other fans. Like I doubt that Celine Dion's getting fucking rocks thrown at her, right?
Right.
Out there, you know, freaking Peaches and freaking Harmony. But it was interesting because they're yelling at him. And Iron Maiden, man, do you like Iron Maiden?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking
saw-
great. Bruce Dickinson's a fucking stud, and he was up there. So some girl, I think they were filling her up or kind of assaulting her, and he starts fucking yelling into the crowd, and he's like, "You fucking motherfucker!" And he's saying all this and yelling, and "You out, get the fuck out!" And then the Foo Fighters were up there, and is it Grohl? Dave Grohl? Is that his name?
Yeah.
He like kicks someone out of the concert. He goes, "You get the fuck out of my show!" So of course they, you can see the security working their way to it, but. Dude, it was crazy to me to think that these people are probably spending good money, go up there and throw shit and get kicked out. But they're probably on drugs and everything like that.
Why are you throwing shit, man? You know?
What,
Why
dude,
are you throwing shit? Just enjoy the show.
Nickelback?
Yeah.
That got hit. They're throwing rocks at the guy, which that's just
what the fuck? That's stupid, man.
Right? Like this. I mean, it's one thing you throw like an empty water bottle up there. You're probably just drunk. But if you're throwing rocks at somebody,
right? You know what you're fucking doing.
Bad shit's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, remember that? Don't get that, man.
Stones concert when I think it was the Stones. They hired the Hell's Angels to be their security because they couldn't get security or something. So they did
shit.
I think this is the story. They did a last minute thing, and they brought the Hell's Angels in, and of course, just exactly what you think would happen, fucking happened. Somebody got stabbed. Black guy got stabbed, like right, and you can see it on camera. Like they rush in and they stab him to death. And
what the fuck, man? See, I just stay away from fucking shit like that, man. I'm too fucking jumpy as it is, man. I don't need to be.
Yeah, one of my buddies out here, he went to the Guns N' Roses ones. Remember, he jumped into the audience.
Yeah.
Down at Hollywood Casino. And I go, "So what'd you do, dude?" And he goes, "Got the fuck out of there." He goes, he just jumped into the crowd and shit. He canceled the concert. Everybody just went berserk. Cops, you could see it because you could see the interstate and shit from Hollywood Casino. And he goes, they were just coming down from everywhere. And he goes, "Let's get out of here." So we just bolted.
Fuck, that's the right move, man. Fuck that. You know what? I loved Guns N' Roses, man. I loved Appetite for Destruction. I loved GNR Lies. And then I went and fucking saw them in concert in '87, and they fucking sucked. I mean, sucked. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted reparations for how bad that shit was, man. And then they came again in the early '90s, and that's when they fucking tore the amphitheater up. It's like, fuck.
Were they good then? They were good.
I don't know. I was gone by then, but
okay.
I was in Hawaii.
Yeah, my cousin, man. The funniest one I ever heard was when Hank Williams was popular back in the early '90s, and my cousin, this was in Kansas City. And he went to his concert, and he just told the story. It's fucking hilarious. He was an alcoholic, at the time. So he came out just fucking wasted, dude. And from what he said, he
Junior.
just got on stage. I don't know what happened. I don't think anything happened. I think he just started yelling to be yelling, but he's like, "Fuck you, Kansas City. Fuck off. Eat my bags. You guys suck. Fuck yourselves." And he just turns around and walks off the fucking. And everybody just in the audience goes, "What the fuck?"
Oh, I'd have been pissed,
Dude,
man.
if you're that big, and he was huge then,
yeah,
and I think he gave the money back, or I don't think he came back, but I can't. He obviously had a drinking problem. Yeah, you can forgive.
Yeah, think about that though. Your average concert goer is blue collar, and those tickets ain't cheap.
Would you not? I would pay for that. That would be enough for me. You just see Hank Williams come out drunk as shit, telling me to go fuck myself, and turn around and leave.
I would, man. I'm there for the show. Now, if he did that,
that's
turn around, walked, and then came back and sang, I'd be all right. That's cool, man.
Yeah, they're like, they run out and they say, "We're going to let him get some sleep. If you guys can stick around for about 2 hours, we're gonna."
Yeah. I'd do it.
Fusion. We're gonna run some water through it real quick.
A lot of those concerts, man. A lot of the venues I've been to have been open air, and so. Yeah, just chill on the grass and fucking drink your beers and shit. Because the reason I say that, I'm thinking back to when the majority of the concerts I went to, I was younger, so I was a junior in the military, and I wasn't getting paid a lot. So I'd spent good money on concert tickets. I might fucking have to eat ramen until next payday. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never been a concert guy.
There goes that money, All right, chalk it up to, well, fuck that guy, and I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. It's not worth it. But back in the day when I was fucking literally living paycheck to paycheck, eating fucking ramen and mac and cheese to get by.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, fucking pissed.
Yeah, I was never a concert guy. Then I got with a girl, had a girlfriend for a while, and she loved country. So I'd have to go. She'd always get these. I can't even remember who the hell they were, but we're going to this concert. I'm like, all right. They say we're good. I mean, I always had fun. And then I think the last one I went to was Hootie and the Blowfish came to town. They were at the Hollywood Casino, and they were really good, man. They killed it.
I've seen them twice.
Have you?
It's funny. I'm not really a concert guy. It seems like every concert I've ever been to, it's almost like I was a victim of circumstance and just happened to end up at this motherfucker for one reason or another, I had this one girl I was dating in Hawaii, and she wanted to go to Depeche Mode, man. And,
hell yeah, dude.
And I'm like, man, I fucking want to go get fucking drunk and laid, And she's basically like, well, if you ain't getting to the concert, you ain't getting nothing else. Guess I'm going to the fucking concert again.
Right, buddy.
Yeah. So that's a lot of situations how I end up at concerts.
Dude, that's how we end up anywhere, right?
Yeah, but as opposed to there's a lot of people I know that their fucking concerts are big deals to them, and I've been to 73 million fucking shows, and I've seen them here and there, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's not my thing, but all right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's for the atmosphere, a lot of people like that. Maybe that atmosphere. Throw some stones.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it.
Water bottle.
I've just kind of learned to just go with the flow, man. Come up with an idea.
It's like the country ones were always fun. I wasn't always the biggest. I like country, but it wasn't the biggest. Like, it wasn't something that.
I'll tell you what. The best concert I think I've ever been to was it was Pirates of the Mississippi. Obviously a country concert. Pirates of the Mississippi, the Judds, and Garth Brooks. And the best part about it,
that shit up.
It was free to active duty military. It was on the air base, Miramar, out in San Diego. What an awesome concert, man. It was just and I didn't follow the judge. At first I didn't know who the Pirates of the Mississippi were, and
what did they sing? It was
their big song was "Feed Jake."
Oh, right, about the dog.
Yeah.
If I die before I wake.
Yep. Feed Jake. Feed that motherfucker. Because I don't want him eating me.
It's like a story, a little story, or a prayer inside of a song.
Yeah. It's a cool little song. If you like that kind of thing.
Yeah. One of the things I always liked about country music, and I would always say this to people, like, if you can't like country music, because I had friends that didn't, but you can't relate to your feelings, your emotions, right? You don't need to be the most sensitive guy, but it's a good thing, I think, for all women to know that a guy can listen to country and get it, right?
Yeah.
If you can get that, you can have that, you don't need to be the biggest fan. You don't need to be, you can listen to all genres if you want to, but if you don't like country, they got good, at least they used to. I don't listen to modern country.
I don't either.
I never do that, but
it's garbage to me.
Now. But if I think you go back and listen to those songs, you probably got it together.
What I liked about, I wasn't a big country fan. I liked some of it, but what I liked the most, the songs, almost every song told a story. And you just don't have that nowadays.
No.
Have you seen this fat tub of lard named Jelly Roll? I guess he's a
singer.
Yeah, he's like a country artist.
Comedian. I've seen him because I was looking for concert tickets, or comedian ticket. I always go through StubHub or whatever to see, and I seen him, but I didn't know what the hell he was. Is he country or?
He's a fucking case of diabetes, is what he is.
It's all fun and games, right? Yeah.
Right. Till you lose that fucking foot.
There's no better time though to be that guy, right? Hey, by the way, did you see the Victoria's Secret shit where they said woke is the worst shit we've ever done?
No.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah.
I didn't know this, dude. So I didn't know that they were, because I don't pay attention to Victoria's Secret, back when I was younger.
It was jerk off material back in the day, other than that.
What? Online porn? I used to beat off the Victoria's Secret. Fuck.
It's a true story.
Throw a fucking chair. Yeah, but so I guess, dude, so I seen some videos of it and somebody was talking about it. And they had like a girl with no legs. I mean, nothing. Just a pellet bone. And she was like waddling herself down, right? So, dude, it was, I can't even believe they were, like, it was supposed to be not everybody.
I can't not laugh anymore. It's so ridiculous, man.
Right. So she was like waddling down, and they had somebody on a wheelchair coming out.
Oh, shit.
So I'm trying to think. Look, there's certain things not.
Hey, when they were rolling her down the runway, what was the song? Rolling, 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 rolling.
I don't know, dude. Each their own, and that's great. But let's be honest here. That's not what. What is it? Victoria's Secret, Fredericks of Hollywood. That's not what it's about. So they switched over. Because they showed like glimpses of like the beautiful women from the beginning, right?
They had a Down syndrome model, didn't they?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Right, dude. And look, here's the thing. Good for her. But it's almost like an apology, right? So you got these beautiful women, and it's almost like an apology for finding, and making that, no one's, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But let's be honest, the majority of us, I knew when we were growing up, it was Brad Pitt, right? Every girl was talking. That didn't piss me off,
I never jerked off to him. I mean, I'll take your word for
it. I hope not. Pretty good, right? He's a Missouri guy.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. So I guess they went backwards. They're like, fuck that. We lost billions of dollars, and they're
man. Telling you, man, it's the silent majority that's speaking.
Yeah,
speaking with that almighty dollar. It was bound to happen, man.
But you got to walk that shit back now, right? So you're walking it back, and it's kind of. I think what a lot of us are finding out now is how embarrassing See, I'm adamant about this. I promise you. In about 10 years, we're going to have some of the greatest movies in books. If you're a reader, there's going to be books written about this shit because I think this is going to be a time where we just look back and go, fuck.
Oh, I hope so, man.
Our grandkids, dude, are going to be going, really?
There's some dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah, so what was wrong? Why did you hate yourself so much? Like, fuck,
Speaking of bugs, did you ever read my book? This is what's called shotgunning, ladies and gentlemen.
The what?
Did you ever read my book?
I haven't yet, and I told you I had a lot in the queue. I got a ton. I'm going. You know what? I'm going to do that this week. No, I promise you, I will start it this week.
Man, it's a short read, and I'm pretty sure that once you start it, you're going to be like, oh, I need to keep going.
Okay.
You could finish. Right. You could probably, I'm sure you could finish it in a day.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just curious, and I would like an honest critique.
Okay.
If it sucks, then tell me it sucks, and we can even do it on the podcast.
End of the podcast.
No, man.
Like,
so
what happened to the podcast, and we'll be like, well, you read that book.
So the way I see it is if it's honest critique, I soak it up like a sponge because that's the only way I'll get better. If I get defensive and I'm like, oh, fuck that guy, whatever, and then I didn't learn a damn thing.
Right. That's what I tell my kids all the time. I say, dude, it's not win or lose. It's win or learn, man.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta accept failure. Failure is good. That's one of the things that we're lacking today. This generation, they're lacking that humility.
Yeah, for sure, man.
We all got fucking, like, we didn't get no fucking participation trophies.
Nope.
I remember when we played ball, the kids. So you remember that? Like, I played a lot of ball back in the day, and I was always good. So I got, I was playing. I was always starting. I was doing that, and there were kids that didn't get to start. And it wasn't that we, you get to play. Everybody gets their chance, but you're not that good. But that doesn't mean that you're not good at something.
Right.
It's just not this. You can learn. Failure is a great thing sometimes because it can push you in a direction that maybe you were meant to be in.
It's okay, sweetie. A lot of people like to read.
Right. Well, dude, I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world, so someone's got out there discovering shit, and you guys got to find a new way to get us to a new planet or whatever. It's not going to be me.
Right. That's for sure.
Me neither. You're not a pitcher. Maybe you can fucking build a rocket.
Right.
Not going to be me.
I agree, man. We didn't get participation trophies. In fact, we got fucking chastised like a motherfucker by the other team. Oh, you guys suck. They're off the team or get off the field. You guys are losers, and then you get to, goddamn, son, I thought we worked harder on this shit. What the hell's going on, boy? But nowadays, it's okay, Johnny. Everybody gets a medal. I go, fuck yourself.
Yeah, dude, and there's people that just suck at shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're not good at something.
Right.
You can be good at, like, there's a lot of people, dude. I remember I used to I was on a bowling league one time in my life, believe it or not. And I drank. I was like fucking 21. I was on a bowling league so I could drink with my friends. That's why I did it. But there was a
You're so defensive, man. You feel so guilty about that.
Look, I love bowling.
I like putting my fingers in bowls, all right? Leave me alone.
Yeah. Dude, I would show up and there'd always be this kid in a wheelchair. Dude, this motherfucker had these big sketch pads. And this guy couldn't get around, right? Like but this dude he'd have these fucking sketches. Like, I remember just walking by. I never talked to him or anything like that, but every time I'd walk by this guy with my stupid bowling bag. And I had fucking shoes too, at least my own shoes. But I'd walk by and I'd see these sketches and I remember going, holy shit. I wish I could fucking draw like that.
Right?
That guy wasn't going to be a fucking triathlon winner.
Right.
But a triathlon winner wasn't going to draw like that fucking guy. And
he wasn't going to win any walkathons either.
What's that?
He wasn't going to win any walkathons either, but hey,
but
world needs artists.
You find your niche, right? You go ahead. That's what I try to tell my kids all the time. It's like, don't be pissed because you can't do it. Just you're good at something. Everybody is. You
I
just,
have a confession.
like, dude, I was always skilled with sports and shit like that. And we were just talking about the guitar. I can fucking hit a ball a mile, but I've been working these motherfuckers forever and I still can't get it. I see, like, all kinds of people. I mean, women, fucking kids, dude. I see 10-year-olds just playing this thing better than I ever could.
Right.
I'm okay with that, by the way.
Yeah.
I
have
love
a
it.
confession.
I don't hate it because I can't do it, but I still keep trying. Am I ever going to be as good as them? No, but I get that.
Do you have fun doing it though?
I'd love doing it. Yeah,
there you
I
go.
love it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think that's the part that intrigues me the most about it, is that I can't fucking do it.
Yeah. You got to conquer it.
How do they do this shit? Why can't I do this? That's when you start to realize too. I think that's good for you because you start to realize, yeah, man, you're just not good at everything. Each of us are good at certain things, and you got to find out what it is, and then you roll with it. But
I learned that a long time ago, man. I suck at a lot of things. A lot.
Yeah, dude, it's like getting your ass kicked. You've had your ass just.
Oh yeah, man.
And those that get their ass beat early know when to open their fucking mouths and know when not to. And that's part of today too, right? Is a lot of people just haven't been punched.
Yeah.
Just haven't been fucking punched.
It's so weird you bring that up because I was driving home yesterday from I don't remember where, but I was thinking, you know what? Man, Liam's 12 years old. He's never been in a fight. I remember getting in my first fight when I was like 7 or 8 years old, man. Yeah, it's just how shit were old back then.
Yeah.
And then fucking 2 hours later, you're hanging out with a dude again.
It's fucking nuts. Like bar fights. Getting a fucking bar fight and you're drinking beer with the guy like 5 minutes later and you're buying rounds for each other.
Yeah.
That's a guy thing though, dude. Because guys can be like, always like, oh man, good right hand, dude. You really clipped me there. I was almost going.
Yeah, it's respect, man. Something about Mortal Kombat, dude, that it bonds people.
Yeah, but one of the things that it teaches you too is you got to watch who you pop off to because you might think you're the toughest guy in the world and you find out real quickly that you're not. Like,
there's always my dad told me that a long time ago, man. There's always somebody tougher. There's always somebody bigger, meaner, badder that you don't want to fuck with. And you're not going to know who it is until it's too fucking late.
It's like that with everything. I remember when I first started going to a gym in my early 20s, I always liked to work out and stay fit. And I was getting pretty strong. And I was like I was actually talking to them at the time. And I said, yeah, my fucking bench press is really picking up. And, I'm a tall, bigger guy, always in that bigger range. And I remember looking over at that time. There's a guy that you wouldn't even think. I'm trying to ballpark it here. I'd say he's probably 5'8". Not muscular, but not overly like huge, like roided out or anything. Just a nice physique, looked like he was fit, and he was over there just freaking repping with shit. Like I hadn't even gotten. He was just over there. I remember just going, and it was so humiliating because at the time that I was talking about how strong I was, this guy's behind me, like, just repping out on. I'm like, holy shit! You would have never suspected it.
That's
the way it is sometimes. I didn't know how to pull my brains out.
Strength is so deceiving, man, because
yeah, it is.
Because that dude cranking that weight up like that, man. I know dudes that probably couldn't put that weight up, but they get their hands on you and like fucking vice grips. You can't get away. There's different types of strength.
You ever get those fights when you're like, oh fuck, this guy's pretty strong.
Yeah. Every person I've ever been in a fight with has always been bigger and stronger than me.
Yeah.
Everyone. And, 90% of those fights I didn't start. I was an asshole, so I started 10%. But, whatever.
Yeah, dude. But it's funny because it's like, again, it goes back to you're just not good at certain things and you're not the best. And if you go out, like me that day when I was sitting there talking about how strong I was, you get humbled real fast sometimes, and that's just the way life is. And I didn't feel like I needed a safe space. I went on.
I'm gonna tell you
shit, and some people are stronger, some people are but that doesn't mean that's like there's warriors like you fought, like there's people that are fighters, and there's people that are maybe managers. There's people that, like, you go out, you fight a war, maybe you get shot, and then there's a nurse or a doctor, somebody that's
Right.
good at, has the, thank God for that.
Yeah, you need that. Everyone has a
Everything.
use. Everyone has a use. I'm going to tell you a number. You're not going to believe it.
7.
I'm going to tell it to you anyway.
Right.
325. That was my max bench press when I was really working out.
Yeah.
And max for reps.
Mm-hmm.
Eight reps.
How many?
8.
8 reps. Wow.
And it was stupid, man. I was putting up weight I probably shouldn't have been putting up, and I tore the fuck out of my elbows and my shoulders.
You got to have shoulder problems, and
my both shoulders are fucked.
Yeah. You lift those heavy, you get too heavy like that, you always fuck something up. And if you want to keep doing it when you get older.
Yeah. Well, that's if I could go back and change anything in my life, it would be train smarter, not harder. Because I was not smart the way I trained, and I'm suffering for it today. But you know what?
I'd look at body. That's another thing. Bodybuilders, and you'd look at them and go, "I can do that." You realize, again, genetics are just different. Right. I have a friend still, dude, to this day. Like in high school, everybody thought he was on steroids, and I'd be surprised if he fucking worked out once a month. But he's one of those guys that walk by and look at a weight, and you just watch his arms get bigger.
I had a friend like that.
Big, round muscle bellies. I've been working out my whole life to try to still look as good as he looked back then. And he's, now he's just kind of let himself go. But he probably could have been a pro. I couldn't be a pro as much as I would have, everybody would like to look like that, but not everybody can. Again, it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, you just don't, this is not your thing.
That is such a science too, man. It's developed into such a science. There really wasn't much science to it back in the day when Arnie was, winning championships. That was just fucking Jack and Steel. But, the diet they've really dialed into, and
steroids back then.
Oh yeah,
he was a genetic freak though. That's
man.
An example of a freak. Like I could do gallons of steroids and not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Did I ever show you the picture? I was in the best shape of my life. I was in my early 40s and I was competing.
Yeah, I've seen that fucking duty.
Every week, man.
I've done that duty at least twice, dude. Like you're in a fucking bathroom, right? And you're flexing.
Yeah. You jerk off to that. Do you have that laminated in the?
I feel like I need to talk to someone.
Do you have that laminated in your shower?
I'm disturbed for about 3 hours, and what's that?
Do you have it laminated in your shower?
No. You gotta admit when a guy sends you it's a nudie. When you get a nudie sent,
it's not a nudie, man. I consider a nudie a fucking dick pic.
So let me ask you this: did you take a picture of yourself in a mirror with your shirt off?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Did you send that picture to your friend?
Yeah, I'm not denying any of this shit, man.
That's 2 things I've never done.
I was proud, man. I was in fucking good shape.
Yes, I got it twice now. But you look good. Yes, you look good. Yeah.
But I was a monster then, man. And I'm not so sure that if roids wouldn't have been made available to me at the time, I'm not so sure I wouldn't have taken them. And it wasn't I was trying to get big. But I had a judo tournament and a jiu-jitsu tournament every fucking weekend, man. I was training 5-6 nights a week.
How does that go by weight though?
Yeah.
So that puts you in a whole other bracket, right? Then
yeah. But I was okay. No, because the guys, especially the judo tournaments, man, let's see, because of my weight and my size and my age, the lightest opponent that I fought was 50 pounds heavier than me. and I fought some fucking big dudes, man. But the key was they were big and heavy, and I was in shape. So I just fucking try to run around and burn them out, and then hit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Get them good and winded, frustrated. It's like a fucking bear trying to chase a rabbit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't. But there's no doubt in my mind I didn't train harder than they did. And that's why I was competitive. Man, 50 pounds is a fucking lot, man.
Yeah. Well, 20. I mean, when someone's on top of you with that kind of fucking weight, that's another thing, dude. If you're getting. If you ever get underneath someone that's.
Yeah, it happened a lot. And so that's why you can't rely on strength. My strength against theirs, I'm going to lose every time. You gotta learn the technique and do it correctly.
That's it. It's all that technique. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting as shit, dude. It's for sure. It's definitely
it ain't easy.
It's a technique,
100%. And it's something that
you know what, dude, the thing with it is it's fucking exhausting. Which
yeah.
I didn't know it was that exhausting.
Grappling cardio is
but when you start doing it, you see other people. So like when you're watching it in the UFC, you don't have an appreciation for like how much goes into that,
right?
Until you start doing that and you're rolling and shit like that, and you're like, "Fuck, dude." That's like you could be there for a couple minutes, and it's like you run a treadmill for fucking 2 hours.
And dude, that's just training. Now, go to a tournament scenario where your adrenaline is going through the fucking roof. And this guy's across from you is trying to rip your head off, and you're trying to rip his head off while keeping yours attached. Man, it smokes the shit out of you. And if you're not prepared for that, you could be one match and done. You're just that physically exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the technique.
It's what's that?
That's where the technique comes in too, because knowing when to rest, knowing when to explode, knowing when to move, knowing when to not move. And that just comes with a lot of time on the mats. Like,
it was weird when we had that one guy. It was your neighbor, I think, and you could tell he would be just already so amped.
Right.
I remember watching you guys roll at first and going, just going through the moves, and just he was just so fucking like a nervous bird, you see, and already that's gonna wear you out before you've even gotten started. I would
for sure. He tells a story the first time we ever rolled together. He was, I've had some training, that kind of guy. Going to your free introductory class doesn't constitute training, but anyway. We're rolling down here in the mats, and Liam's down here, and I'm sitting there having a full conversation with Liam, normal full conversation. This dude's dying underneath me, man, and he's laughing the whole time. He goes, "God damn it, man." He goes, "I'm fucking dying, and you're having a full conversation with your son. This is bullshit."
Well, that's just it, because there's so much. There's so much that's going on but not going on. It's like this weird science kind of thing. And there's the little things like keeping the hands in. There's just so many techniques that can make you invulnerable and everybody else vulnerable. That's what's kind of neat, and then it's the move. It's basically a manipulation. You're almost using them. They're almost hanging themselves, your opponent. And if they're they're hanging themselves.
Yeah, it's like it's a tactical, intelligent sport. You have to be thinking 2 to 3 moves ahead. If you're thinking about now,
right? Like that was one of the things I always caught about Rogan, because he was so knowledgeable in it. Just watching that and be like, man, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, because most of the time I did, because I still didn't understand it. Now I got a better understanding of it, but. Like, what is he? But he was always right. He'd be like, okay, wow, fuck, he did that. But it was, he'd say it's a chess move. It's a chess game. And I loved chess. I wasn't great at it. I'm okay. But I sometimes get impatient, like everything. That's kind of like jujitsu too, right? If you get too impatient, you'll hang yourself.
Yeah. You know, the at the black belt division, it's a 15-minute match. That's a long
cardio, but you'd also have to be like on that other level of calm. I imagine it's a lot of breathing technique, the patience.
I prefer to roll only with brown and black belts, and it's because of that. They're mature in their game at this point. They can flow roll. They're not going to spaz. They're going to go at your level. Where you get with the lower belts, man, and all they're thinking, one thing on their mind is submit, kill, rip, and I'm too old for that shit, man. I break a lot easier now, and it's a lot harder to recover.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing, man. You got to stay relaxed. That's the whole key to it, If you're tensed up, a lot of things happen. Number one, you're burning energy, but number two, when you're tense like that and you go to make a move, whatever it is, you're telling your opponent, because there is a very noticeable relaxation in the muscle to where it tenses up to make the move. And if you got somebody that's in tune with that, which a lot of these guys are, the higher levels for sure, man.
Yeah.
They're just waiting. They feel it, and then they're going to counter your move. And now you're even in more of a shit spot than you were just a second ago. And tired. Because now you burst energy and got caught. And so now you just blew all that energy you were saving up.
Yeah.
But it's so fun, man. I'm going to get back into it. Probably won't be till after the first of the year. I really miss it, man. But again, I'm at that stage where I know for sure 100% that my technique is better than the lower belts. But it's a pride thing that I had to come to grips with to realize, my technique's a lot better, but they're younger, faster, and stronger. And I have to not get upset if I get smitted by somebody like that, because let's face it, man, I'm in my fucking 50s, dude. But still out there doing it. And I think that's the important part. What's that?
I said, you got to do something. Use it or lose it, man.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's physically good for you. It's spiritually good for you, whether you want to believe it or not, man. Dude, jiu-jitsu's taught me so many life lessons, man. It's really, the way I look at things, because if you go to jiu-jitsu and you decide to stick with it, you get humbled very early on in your journey, right? And that humbling's a good thing. And you consistently get humbled. And then you start to get a little bit better. And then that ego wants to kind of creep back in, and then you get fucking smashed again. So it's just a good fucking balance, man. It's you do improve and you progress, and it's great and you have fun with it, but when you start getting a little bit too big for your britches, jiu-jitsu comes in and lets you know it real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And shit, so it's
out and
what's that?
What are we on here? 2 hours?
Oh shit! God damn! I didn't even realize it, man. See,
here we are, 2 hours later.
I told you once we got going, it would flow good.
Well, we did. Fuck, did it was like a last minute thing. We didn't even get started till 9, and I remember thinking, well, this will be a quick one. I'll be in bed early. No way.
That's usually what Connie says.
Right.
This will be a quick one.
I'm with that. Yeah, right. Is it always quick, or is it? What? Hey, the good thing is when she passed out and leaves, what were you thinking? You just put her to bed, or do you think, well, she's gonna get she'll get crazy tonight? Like when my wife,
I'm thinking,
cranky, I'm like always, she's gonna be fun.
I'm thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be quiet.
Of course, what I said is probably terrible. God, my wife's so good though, and she's like, God bless them, bless their hearts. She'll watch it and I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. It's all in the sake of comedy. All right, well, I guess we will catch you good folks next week. Will it be next week? I don't know.
Let's see. We got so Halloween is on Tuesday.
Yeah, Halloween's on
So yeah,
Tuesday. Yeah,
the Wednesday.
November
Maybe we gotta
1st.
come up with something else, and we'll put together something. I think you were talking about maybe taking a step back into history. If you still want to do that, we can. If not, we can do something else. But we got to kind of be putting something together.
Yeah. We'll talk about it offline.
We'll talk about it. Other than that, it's kind of going to be like, let's hope it's not like one of these where you text me at what time was it, like 8:20? Because we normally go live at 8:30. You text me at 8:25 or something.
Right.
So I didn't get the text because my phone's on Do Not Disturb, right? So then I happened to look at my phone and click and see there was a message, and I was like, oh shit! And I went, oh fuck, forgot all about it. And I was like, all right, so I got to get my shit together and get everything going. But it won't be like that next time. We'll figure this out and have something.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. All right, everybody. We'll catch y'all next time.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again. Man.